brewing as the sun peeks through the haze. And birds are chirping, serenading morning's praise. Front porch creaks as dreams fade away. America's awakened to a brand new day. Old vinyl spinning a sweet old tune. Day starts dancing under a sleepy moon. Loose print smudges on fingers of grace. America's awakened at her own steady pace. Sips of sunshine in a coffee cup. Simple moments lifting spirits up. From the mountains to the sandy shore. Morning in America, want just a little more. Neighbors waving with a friendly rise. Kids with backpacks chasing daylight skies. Eyes cooling on a windowsill so fine. America's awakened with a heart full of shine. Old vinyl spinning a sweet old tune. Day starts dancing under a sleepy moon. Newsprint smudges on fingers of grace. America's awakened at her own steady pace. Sips of sunshine in a coffee cup. Simple moments lifting spirits up. From the mountains to the sandy shore. Morning in America, wanting just a little more. Neighbors waving with a friendly rise. Kids with backpacks chasing daylight skies. Eyes cooling on a windowsill so fine. America's awakened with a heart full of shine. Neighbors waving with a friendly rise. Kids with backpacks chasing daylight skies. Eyes cooling on a windowsill so fine. America's awakened with a heart full of shine. Tractors rumble, fields coming alive. Big wheels turning where hopes and dreams strive. Laughter echoes down the old dirt road. America's awakened to lighten her load. America's awakened to lighten her load.
Good morning. Good morning. I hope you're all having a good morning. I know I'm having one. I was up late last night though. Uh, for those of you who don't know, I was having some fun with the fleece. Oh my God. It is so easy to mess with dummies some days. Can't do it every day. You can't do it every day. But every once in a while, you get those days where you're like, okay, I'm going to have some fun with them. And that's exactly what I did. I got Felisa to say Felisa scams. Good morning, Nancy. Good morning, TC. Good morning, Native Pride. Seer, are you censoring today? I don't know who I'd be censoring. I'll be on here live. Let's see. Joan, good morning. Nancy, Tammy, and Stephen. Oh, Stephen is coming in from Columbia, South Carolina. Well, good morning. Good morning. I hope you brought your coffee. I brought mine. Wishful She Devil, good morning. And then we got Jam, Native Pride. I think I said Native Pride already. It's me, good morning. Colleen, good morning. Let's see who else we got here. Man, a bunch of you jumped right in this morning. Marsh, good morning. And Robert Tower, oh, you got up in time. Yep, there you go. You know, the early bird gets the early coffee. I have made some changes to the soundboard. So just an update. You guys might see. You might see some new. Might hear some new sounds. I had to put that one up just as a review of Paint Chips' legal. His legal Well, say advice. So yeah, that was a review of him. I do got to pull up my little control board here. I haven't done that yet. Let me do that. How are things in your guys' life? Things going well? Hmm. Oh, I did want to make changes to the monetization. I'm glad I thought of it. Uh, okay, no, okay, it's doing it medium now. Okay, for the longest time, I kept changing it to from high to medium, and now it's on medium. So good. Glad we got that figured out. I have no clue. I changed it like 4 days in a row, and all of a sudden the change just took. So I don't know. Um, do you think I'm going to get some retaliation from last night? Do you think the fleas are then going to use my copyrighted material? Because that was what they claimed. They were reporting me last night. Diane, my grandson leaves for boot camp Monday. Proud but also sad. Is he going to Paris Island or to San Diego? I have taken my son to both this year. Um, it was fun. It was fun. And if you want some recommendations too, feel free to reach out to me. Down below, I've got the phone number, I've got the email, all that good stuff. Does Felisa and Robbie speak English? I thought they were talking Pig Latin last night. It it was really hard, really hard watching them. Why is maybe it's the lighting? Why I've got all this noise. Oh, he's going to Paris Island. So I was just there at Paris Island with my family, and they get so the recruits get Liberty like the week before they graduate. And I had gone through and learned some stuff, and then when my brother went through, like, 2 years later, I actually sent my parents I was like, "No, go down there, like, 5, 6 days early, stay on base at the, base hotel," and they were able to see him because they get on base liberty, so they were able to see my brother earlier than the graduation. Uh, and it's also cool to see how they do things on the island. When we went there, we went to the museum on base, and the guy at the museum was like, "Hey, just letting you guys know, there's going to be recruits there. They're going to be coming through. Just don't take any pictures of them." And I was like, "Yeah, no problem." And I had Glory with me, and like I had a couple of recruits. They're like, "I haven't seen a dog in 2 months. Can I pet your dog?" I'm like, "Yeah, go right ahead." How come people don't hit the like button? Because we don't remind them enough. There are some people. For instance, we've got people who are watching on X. Most of those people are watching on their TVs. Yeah, we got like 20 some people watching on X right now. Thank you to those of you who are there. Do we have any on Rumble? Uh, we got one on Rumble. So yeah, it's because people just aren't reminded. We got three on Facebook right now. So we're going out to multiple places. I'm just happy that people watch. I really am thankful when people give me their input. It's always easier to do this when you're getting live input. Always easier. Um, and that's just because, it's hard doing a stream on your own, like without anyone to talk to. It is not easy. I had I y- oh, the Huffs are here this morning. Good morning. Oh, and I see Mama Coop is here. Is Coop up yet? um Yeah, so they oh, you just remind me of something. I gotta pull something up. I'm gonna show you guys something this morning. It just made me laugh. Not when innocent comments get censored, get together. Who's censoring you? I'm not censoring you. I, as long as you're not breaking the rules, I don't care if anyone comes in here and uh, I don't care if anyone comes in here and gives their 2 cents. I don't care. I don't care if the fleas come in here. Uh, you need to talk to your censorship committee. Well, the mods do know they are not to censor anyone. If someone has put you in timeout or something, let me know. Let me know because I will talk to them. Um, people are allowed there. I allow people a lot of leeway here. As long as you're not attacking people, you can pretty much come in here. You can disagree with me. You can make fun of me. I don't care. Unlike, unlike all these others, I understand that there is a benefit to it. There we go. I just want to get my face a little bit better. There's a benefit to it. And it also makes me remind myself that, yeah, I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this for fun. They were so mad last night. YouTube censored an innocent comment. There are some words that are banned from the streams that we do have. So I don't remember what they are offhand. Um, Stolen valor might be one of them, only because for a while I had people attacking me who were coming in and just spamming the chat with stolen valor. So the easiest way was just to put, "Hey, we're going to take stolen valor out." I don't know if it's still there, but what was the comment? What was the comment? I'd be happy to see what the comment was. Who is Georgie? Georgie is she just said she's not in the mood for attitudes. He's turning on your commercials. Okay. Coop's not used to getting up early. I know. He scolded me that I do my show. I do this too early. Um, what's funny is this is not how this channel. It's not the goal of the channel. I just do these because I enjoy them. I don't care about the money. I don't care about people who jump in. It's just a way for you guys to. It's actually more for YouTube because I was doing the show once a week. And we moved, we were on Thursdays there for a while, then Wednesdays, then we were on Tuesdays. Now we do every other Sunday. And that was just because, we have a lot of moving parts. I still would love to get more people on the channel. I've talked to a couple. Some are thinking about it, but some people should just do it just as a way to build their brand. Sorry, I had a burp coming and I didn't want to burp in the thing. Um, we talk nightly, so 13 weeks is a long time for him to be gone, already feeling depressed. You'll start writing letters to him. Start writing letters to him. He will appreciate lots and lots of letters. Like, even if it's just a postcard with just a couple lines, that will help him get through. And like, he'll write when he can. They don't get every day to write. Sundays, he'll definitely get time to write. But yeah. Hello, Marina. Welcome. Welcome. Yeah, they were saying that my stream was going to get taken down. They copyrighted it, all that stuff yesterday. Well, YouTube is YouTube. I had to laugh because Luffman was like, "I'm going to sue YouTube." Florida has a new law, and it's true. Florida does have a law, but this is the difference. Like, I've been following the law long enough that when some certain things happen, like that Florida law is just a political law. There is actually no teeth to it because when you go on to YouTube and you click the terms and conditions, one of the terms and conditions is that by by clicking that, you are giving consent to, if you have any legal dispute with YouTube, that you are agreeing to arbitration in uh, a California court. Do you remember getting mail boot camp at the layout, flat, letter in your hand, you slap? Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I still have every letter that I received in boot camp. Every single letter. I have them all. No, I did not get hit with any type of copyright because what I was showing was not copyrighted material. I've had that idea for a while. I've had the idea to do that for a while. And I didn't do it because those dummies, they don't understand copyright law. And hey, Coop, just because there's a new law doesn't mean you have a case using said law. Yep, yep. Yeah, Florida can pass all the laws that it wants. The whole thing is you agreed to that arbitration. When you went to use the platform, you agreed to it. But yeah, those dummies, I've known for what, a year and a half that they didn't know anything about copyright law, and I understand it. I didn't want to give them an education. I didn't want to tip my hat. I wanted to wait. And I'll tell you, it was when she got suspended that I was like, okay, now I can start having some fun with them. And yeah, they don't understand shit about copyright. Lacey Fleesa said you busted Lacey. I mean, they can say whatever they want. It doesn't bother me. They get bothered about what people say. And the thing is, they are consistently wrong. They were saying the other day that the bankruptcy case was reinstated. Oh, it ain't reinstated. It is not reinstated. That's why they're not showing proof of it. For the ones who are like, we bring receipts. Okay, we'll show proof that it's reinstated. Because the document that that everyone has seen is saying that it's specifically canceled for the time being. I gotta okay. There you go.
Oh yeah. Hello, everybody.
All right. So I want to show you guys. I was having some fun yesterday. It was so much fun. I gotta switch to this. Damn it. Here we go. I want to show this video. This is what I was doing last night.
Showtime.
There you go.
Oh yeah. Hello, everybody.
I actually watched that the other day.
Will they say the name?
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm the hostess with the mostest.
Follow these sus scams. Thank you for the super sticker. Thank you guys all for the super chats and the co-buys. There he is. See,
Elisa
9 times
scam.
he appeared.
I was having fun last night.
So how's everyone?
So the name I used was, oh, hold on. I got to remove that. The name I used was Folly Suscams. So when you say it all together, it's Felisa Scams. It cost me $2, but I got her to say it. Money well spent. So you heard it from herself, Felisa Scams.
That's what she said.
Sorry, Skipper's a little bit slow this morning with the soundboard. Yeah, get lots of people to send him mail. That's the best thing you can do. I mean, yeah, YouTube is YouTube, but that's the law. Now, I've seen people talk about, oh yeah, we should sue Facebook. We should sue, all these people. In fact, Laura Lerner just had her case rejected by the Supreme Court where she was trying to sue. She was trying to sue Facebook, Google, which is YouTube, and Facebook, YouTube, and what was the other one? But she was trying to sue through three of them, and the Supreme Court tossed it It's not going forward. Um, they allowed the case to, like, the judge ruled. He was like, "No, you got to sue in this court," and she appealed, and they allowed her to appeal in Florida. Um, so I mean, yeah, the case law is not on your side. Uh, but what I would do, or what they need to do, is now if a bunch of people who've been deplatformed, if they all got together and did a class action, that they could probably get away with. Class actions are a little bit different because of the, what do they call it? The diversity of plaintiffs, I believe is the term. So yeah, they could sue. They could sue that way. She could jump on with a lot of these people who've been deplatformed and sue that way. But good luck. I class action suits take a very long time. They do go through federal law, but yeah, and they are treated a little bit differently. And I followed, like, I know more about class action than I know about bankruptcy. Uh, however, class action are not exactly the most, what's the term? They're not the like it's not a common, like, they're common, but it's not the most common lawsuit. So even with my knowledge about them, there's still, I'll admit, I'm still limited in knowledge. What we need to do is we need to get an attorney who's willing to come on here. They're jacking your comments up. No truth from here anymore. Well, we're streamed on multiple platforms, and you can go on to like Rumble. You could go onto Rumble and put comments, and YouTube can't censor that. In fact, and it'll still be right here on the scroll. Like, YouTube is not the be all end all. I'm suing Coop and Georgie. I just don't know why. Sue everyone. I need to clip that. In fact, I'm gonna write that down. Uh, Sue everyone. That was from the Jerky Boys. Or Saul Rosenberg calls a lawyer and about getting sued about a bike accident. And he wants to, he's like, well, I'll sue you, sue all the people you work with and handle. And he's like, sue me? And he's like, sue everyone. The guy who does the Jerky Boys, he also does Mort Goldman on Family Guy. He, I'm trying to think. His real name is Johnny something, and funny guy, but he's on Cameo. And I'm mad that I found out after my brother's birthday that he was on Cameo, because I would have paid money for him to uh, do some of his voices to my brother on for his birthday. That would have been funny. I might do that for Christmas. Sue here, sue there, everywhere, sue. One thing I noticed. Do you ever notice that with oh, Willis? Hey, Willis, I think I can come on your show tonight. I know you always send me the Tip of the Spear podcast. I think I can come on tonight. Um, the shutdown, I'm not on base as much as what I was. I'm on base every day doing my work, but without all the people there, it's like, okay, well, I don't have to do as much. Um, can I sue the Marines? He's 6'2". Oh, you know what he should do is, if he's going to be in infantry, he should try out for Yankee White. That's the president's guard. Or he could try out, if he enjoys drill, he should try out for the drill team. It's the last Wednesday of the month. Oh, okay. I was hoping it would be today. Darn it. Cuz Wednesdays I have because I've got one meeting of a board that I'm on that meets the second to last Wednesday of the month always, and we do after work we do a Bible study on Wednesdays. That's why I normally can't go, is because I'm going to that. Um, so yeah, and I take a guy I work with. We ride together, but he's on furlough, and so he's not at work. So I was like, oh, okay. I'm because I'm not taking him. I won't go to Bible study. I'll just jump in with you guys. It's the 29th this month. Okay. Well, I might be able to make it this month. If it was today, I'd be able to make it. Just know, I want to come on with you guys. I really do. um, I'm ignoring you. Why would you think he wants you on there, Skipper? Because he sends me the invite, TC, and because I'm pleasant. My son enlisted through the DEP in the Marines. I have such mixed feelings. They're going to be fine. Here's the thing, though. Tell them when they get injured and anything, to then send themselves from their work email to their private email what happened, because that's considered journaling. And when they get out and become veterans, they'll be thankful that they have those emails, because that's proof and will automatically Service Connect all of their shit automatically. Willis, I thought you were Army. Am I wrong? I thought you were Army. TC's Army. Maybe I'm getting you two confused. So I did a live on TikTok yesterday, which, if you guys are on TikTok, follow me at veteran.nation on TikTok. And Chris, who was on the show on Sunday, he was on there. Yeah, also tell the corpsman and go to sick call. And I'll tell you guys a little story here in a minute. Yeah, Chris had a guy who said he was from the 82nd Marines. Correct me if I'm wrong. The 25th Marines is the highest number that it goes up to. Like, I can't think of any unit in the Marine Corps. There's. Oh wait, no. I never was with the Air Wing. Yeah, the Air Wing has like MWSS 374. So yeah, of the ground units, the highest they go up to is 25. But the 82nd Marines is not a thing. 82nd Airborne is a thing, and that's Army. Like, yesterday, I was at 3rd Battalion, 11th Marines. I was over there yesterday talking with their sergeant major. But, yeah, there's no 82nd Marines. So a guy he was looking for a handout, and he said that's who he was with. And it's like, nah, Marines would know that. And the only reason I can't recall if they go higher than that is because I only did a little bit of stuff with reserves. And I worked with the 23rd Marines and the 25th Marines. Part of like the 2nd or 3rd Marine Division, or 1st, right? It's one of those. It's not the 4th. Those of you who don't know, the infantry is broken up into 4 divisions: the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Those are your basic units. Once or the MEFs. I'm sorry, the MEFs. I was with one MEF. I said division, didn't I? I feel like an idiot for saying that, because there are more than 4 divisions. Like I said yesterday, I was at 3rd Battalion, 11th Marine Division. I heard that too, AVA. I heard that too. There's only so many fingers we can count with, TZ. Too funny. Too funny. Um, yeah, I wasn't thinking about the air wing. Oh, but back to medical. So whenever you go to medical, whether they give you anything or not, one thing they're going to do is paper you to death. They're like Bruce with a federal court. If you go to medical, like the big one right now is for the last 10 years they've been on tobacco cessation. So if you go to medical in the military, you're gonna get like 7 pages. They just give you this paperwork and it's like, oh thanks. And you just toss it in the shit can on the way out. And like ask anyone in the military. Anyone. They will tell you this. And so this is a crazy X story, Dependa story. So I had gone to my buddy's birthday. He was turning 30. His wife asked me. He was like a guy I spent probably my first 2-3 years in the Marine Corps like side by side with. So we were very close. And I was like, "Yep, absolutely, I'm coming." And she had planned a guy's weekend, and it was a surprise to him. So, and the big surprise was me coming in for California because they lived in Virginia. And my ex was like, "I'm coming. I'm coming." I'm like, "No, you're not." She's like, "Yeah, I am." I'm like, "I'm not going to be the guy who goes to a guy's weekend and brings his wife. I'm not doing that." I was like, uh, "I am, we're going golfing. His his wife has planned everything, and you can call her. And if she invites you, great." But she wouldn't do that. She just wanted me to tag her along. I was like, "Yeah, no, that's not what this is for." And we had already started having marital issues at that point. And so I go on the trip. We're having a good time, and literally, like the one night where me and him and his buddies were standing in the one buddy's garage, and we're just drinking as dads do. Like literally, the kids are there and they're riding toys, and like it's like a neighborhood thing, right? And she calls me and just started going off because really she was just upset that I went on the trip. And on the phone call, she tells me that she was pregnant and was so upset over all this that she miscarried. Yep, there you go. Yeah, the regiments. Oh, did I screw that up? Yeah, I did. I'm an idiot. Uh, but thank you for correcting me. I get so fucked up some days. Um, but yeah, so she had told me she miscarried, and I'm listening to her, and she's telling me this sob story about. I'm like, "What hospital did you go to?" And she's like, "The one on base." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Do me a favor, take a picture of the paperwork they give you." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Well, you went in and you miscarried, and then I go, they gave you an exam, right?" And she's like, "Yeah." I go, "Take a picture of the paperwork they gave you." She's like, "They didn't give me paperwork." I'm like, "They did." I'm like, "No, they gave you paperwork." And she was like, "No, they didn't." And like was arguing with me. I'm like, "I'm gonna tell you right now. Every time you just go into Navy Medical, if they look at you, you are walking out with paperwork in hand. They are not going to discharge you without paperwork. Even if they don't give you anything, you're like I said, they're going to give you the tobacco cessation paperwork or paperwork about losing weight." Um, right, TC? Oh, right. Um, but yeah, they they always give you paperwork at the naval hospitals, always. So I knew her story was full of shit. She was faking a pregnancy, well, a miscarriage scare, just trying to manipulate me. And but that's what's funny is you get these dependas who think they know so much about the military. Like they'll straight up tell, "Oh, it's this," and they're experts, right? Um, But yeah, I was like, oh, well, I know this is a bullshit story. What? Sorry, I just saw something. It said message redacted. Things throw me off. Did James Comey just get arrested? I don't know. I don't know. Let's look it up. That would be a big story today. Um, James Comey to appear in court. Um, he's set to appear for arraignment. I think they're letting him come in on his own recognizance by what I'm seeing. But it looks like he's going to be arraigned today. There you go. I still can't believe what we found out yesterday, that Jack Smith was tracking Republican senators. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Did you guys enjoy my little video about headlines of me doing the Walter Winchell? He was a guy back in like the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and then kind of fell out in the 60s. But he used to always talk like this, and now the headlines. I was having fun making that. That's why I made it, is because it was short and I could do it real quick. You know what's funny is that was kind of what this show was going to be. When they first approached me about doing this show, they wanted a vet bro show, and I'm like, I'm not going to talk about tactical stuff, and like, there's enough guys who do that stuff. There's more than enough guys. And that was not even me when I was active duty. Like, even though I had the armory and I could always talk to like the gunsmiths about guns. For me, I was a nerd and I would nerd out and ask them questions about that stuff. Um, like we would talk for probably an hour about the 9 mils locking block breaking, and that was fascinating to me. But yeah, that's what the folks over at New Right Network, what they wanted me to do, and that's why they're co-owners of the shows, because they actually came up with the show. I pitched to them a show where I was doing essentially Norm Macdonald as part of uh, um, Weekend Update. I wanted to do a weekly 5-minute show of just that, and they were like, we don't really want to go into that. And I was like, okay, and I was like, well, I just don't see myself doing the show that you are. And then like a couple months passed, and they came back to me and they were like, well, we uh, was Walt. He may have done some of those. I can tell you this: he was the voice. He was the narrator of the Untouchables. So that was Walter Winchell. But he had a column. He was a gossip columnist. Um, yeah, like they were him and I would say Dorothy Kilgallen were kind of like the first. Um, you're nerdy. Remind me of what? Yeah, right. That's me. They were like the first gossip columnists, but they had radio shows and they would talk about gossip, Hollywood gossip, and stuff there. Um, Dorothy Kilgallen is a really fascinating one because she covered some big cases. Okay, Sam Shepard, the fugitive case. She was a major reason he got his conviction overturned because she was in Cleveland reporting on that, and the judge had said some things to her, and when F. Lee Bailey got a hold of the case, he asked her to fill out an affidavit, so she filled it out, and they were able to reopen his case. And F. Lee Bailey then got new evidence that had been excluded by the previous judge put in, and that's how Sam Shepard was acquitted. And sadly, it ruined Sam Shepard's life. And DNA did absolve him. That was like 10 years ago. They did DNA on the Sam Shepard case, and yeah, he was not guilty of killing his wife, but Dorothy Kilgallen was the reason. And then she started talking about the very early on the President Kennedy assassination, and she had links to what's his name, the guy that shot Oswald. What and I know it's an R. His last name is an R. What was his name? The guy that shot Oswald. Do you guys know? Jack Ruby. I knew the moment I'd start looking it up, Jack Ruby. So she had connections to Jack Ruby because obviously she had connections through, she was a gossip columnist, so she knew nightclub owners and stuff like that. And she did an interview with Jack Ruby. She also got Jack Ruby's testimony to the Warren Commission way before anyone else got it. And yep, thank you guys. Sam Shepard is a good and fascinating case. Absolutely, it is, and it's also a good one to learn about, about like how court works and like how powerful a judge can be. But so she got Jack Ruby's testimony, and she did not believe what the Warren Commission was saying, and she suddenly died in her home from a combination of alcohol and barbiturates in like 1963 or 64. Don't quote me on her death date. But the thing is, like, she was on, what was the show? Was it What's My Line? I think she was on What's My Line. So, like, a game show, a primetime game show that had been on for like 10 years, and she was on almost every episode. And you know, very healthy looking woman. Um, and yeah, just one day just comes up dead in her home right after talking about the Kennedy assassination. Very interesting. But yeah, she was a gossip columnist. So was Walter Winchell. Uh, Another really interesting one of those old time media personalities is Father Coughlin. Father Coughlin was out of, I believe, Royal Oak or Pontiac, Michigan. So not far from where I grew up, like hour and a half away. And he was a Catholic priest. And it's really interesting because the people who, like the people who are like, oh, like they would have lost their mind. The people today who call everyone fascists and Nazis would have lost their mind back in the day because Father Coughlin was a supporter of Hitler. Like they did a movie a few years ago where a guy was constantly doing all his radio things, and it was based a little bit off Father Coughlin, where he used I remember it was what's his name, Nick Nolte, who played the character, and he would call Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He would call him Franklin Delano Rosenfeld, and that was stolen from Father Coughlin, who would call him, I think, Rosenblatt or Rosenstein. But Father Coughlin was a Roman Catholic priest, and he was supporting Nazi Germany in the mid and late 1930s. And at the same time that he's supporting Nazi Germany, the Ku Klux Klan, which was active in like the northern states at that point, they were trying to get Father Coughlin shut down because he was Catholic, and the Ku Klux Klan was Protestant. And obviously, Father Coughlin is the biggest Catholic voice out there. And if I remember correctly, it was out of Cincinnati that would play his show, which is WLW out of Cincinnati, which still today they have a like there's the FCC, and you can't broadcast above a certain wattage. This one station in Cincinnati, they get a waiver because they've been broadcasting at a super high wattage since like the early days of radio, and he was broadcast on that. So like it's a station that at night I can pick it up. It's like AM 900. I can pick it up here in California, and it's out of Cincinnati. And yeah, so Father Coughlin is a really interesting one. But yeah, like all the people who are like, oh, Nazis and fascists, they're all racist. No, they're totally different. And Father Coughlin is a great example because the Klan was burning crosses uh, on the church steps. Like they would do rallies and burn crosses out in front of Father Coughlin's church, which is very, very interesting. While Father Coughlin was talking about what a great guy Hitler was. and just the fact that he called uh, Roosevelt Rosenblatt, that's pretty creative. If you're if you're a smear merchant, like coming up with stuff like that is very creative. Can Paint Chips get in trouble for his language is on court papers about Jeremy? Yes. Yes, he can. If his dad comes in and tells the court that I didn't sign that, I didn't write that, that was my son, yes, he can be the one held in contempt because those things they wrote about Jeremy, absolutely contempt of court. Um, it is not proper decorum for the court. Ruby was fine until West met him in Dallas. Look up Jolly West. Met him, and Ruby was certified insane. Well, I believe that. You see a lot of people in entertainment who are batshit. A lot of them. You, Siri, you're saying this as you're on YouTube, dude. Go on to Rumble. You can watch us on Rumble, and there, you can watch, you can comment. Everyone's still. That's why I put these up here so everyone can see what everyone's saying, and you know what I'm reacting to. Some people don't put the comments up, and mm, to each his own. But I think you should be open with people. Like you should be open and honest with people. But yeah, I like all um, that old. I like old Hollywood stuff. I like old entertainment stuff. If you guys haven't figured that out, uh, but yeah, I really enjoy that stuff quite a bit. Like when I go into LA, I've got my one friend who she lives in the UK, and whenever she comes here, she always wants to do all these things in LA, and she wanted to see the Kardashians' house, and like she dragged me to that and stuff. Jolly West had contact with almost every major master criminal murder, was known for MK Ultra. I'm not surprised. Like I have zero doubts. I've heard that both the CIA was responsible and that Mossad was responsible. I wouldn't be surprised if there were connections across the board on all those in JFK's murder. Would not be surprised. I've heard that the mafia. I don't think the mafia would have done it on their own. They, I can see, where the mafia would have done it at the behest of people in government, especially after Robert Kennedy started going after them. Um, do you guys know that Jimmy Hoffa sued Robert Kennedy uh, and Jack Parr because he went on to Jack Parr? This is good defamation law stuff. Robert Kennedy went on to the Jack Parr Tonight Show and called. Um, he called Hoffa. I think he called him. I think he called him a scammer. And this is one of those things that really made the Tonight Show big. I'm looking for. Um, he he called him something on the Tonight Show, and then Hoffa sued him and Jack Parr, and it's like that case was tossed. It was so tossed. Yeah, here's the downside is when you see that everyone talks about the Senate committee where that was very public and things, but he called him something like called him a scammer or something on the Tonight Show. So Jimmy Hoffa um, sued Kennedy and Parr together. Parr didn't say anything; was just talking to him. But this is very much like paint chips and the fleas saying, "Oh, that's defamation. I'm going to sue." And it's like, no, you can't. Just because you don't like what someone said doesn't mean you can sue. And that's what's funny about that is like there's so much case law on this stuff that when they say these things, they just look dumb. They just look dumb. Okay, going to a job fair. Good luck. Best of luck to you here. Susie's here. Hey, good morning, Susie. Good to see you. But yeah, but yeah, here maybe I'll pull up the thing on Laura Loomer. And had you asked me, I didn't know this case was. I didn't know that this case was going in front of the Supreme Court. Had I known, I would have said, yeah, this case is getting tossed. Okay. So yeah, here's Newsweek talking about it. Laura Loomer reacts to failed Supreme Court case. I'll keep fighting. Laura Loomer has failed. Let me close all these ads. Has vowed to keep fighting after the U.S. Supreme Court rejected her bid to revive a lawsuit against Meta and X. Writing on X, the right-wing activist said she will continue fighting for those who have been silenced after court declined to take up an appeal, alleging the social media companies violated civil racketeering laws by banning her from their platforms when she ran for Congress in Florida in 2020-2022. Laura argued that this decision hampered her ability to compete in the elections. Newsweek contacted Laura Loomer and the Supreme Court to comment on the story outside business hours. Despite not holding a government or administrative role, Loomer, independent investigative journalist known in part for her anti-Muslim rhetoric, was sharing conspiracy theories, has become an influential voice in the MAGA movement, has been credited for shaping a number of White House decisions. This makes the court decision noteworthy. Meanwhile, in the wake of death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, politics has become active. Loomer was banned from X, then Twitter, in 2018 for posting content the platform deemed hateful. A year later, she was banned from Facebook for violating their hate policies. Activist was reinstated Twitter in 2022 when billionaire Tesla owner Elon Musk took over. She had previously lost in lower courts, including in federal courts in California in 2023 and the San Francisco-based Ninth U.S. Court of Appeals. So with her, if I remember correctly, she started the case in Florida, and they said no. The district judge there said no, you have to move this to California. So then she moved it to California, and she lost her case there, and let's see. Yeah, she's saying she's going to keep fighting with this case and trying to get a RICO lawsuit. Incredibly hard. Now, what I would recommend for her to do, and I'm sure if there's any lawyers watching, jump in and tell me if I'm wrong. Her and a lot of other people who are deplatformed, like Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes, Mindy Robinson, who we had on the show last month. They've all been deplatformed and throttled. What they all should do is a class action lawsuit, because they're first off, the standards of it's a civil lawsuit. So she was trying to get a criminal RICO lawsuit. That is very hard. In a civil case, the standards of evidence are lower and the burden of proof is lower. You only need to prove 51%, whereas in criminal court, you got to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. So it's way easier. And we've seen that. What's her name? Gina Carano. She sued Disney over getting fired. And, because here in California, political speech is protected. Like this is a right to work state, but if you're protected, if you are fired over a political opinion here, you can bring a lawsuit. That is against the law. There's always things, even in a right to work state, there's always things that are protected, that you cannot get fired for. For instance, making a claim about sexual harassment, you can't get fired for it. Like if they fire you for it, that's discrimination. So there's laws. You can't get fired for a a religious opinion. Sorry, I'm getting more of my coffee. And a lot of those are protected in many other states. And I do know Arizona and California protect political opinions. There's other states that do. I can't quote you on them. I'd have to look them up. But and each state is different how much protection you get, but that's the problem with a lot of these Hollywood places and a lot of these social media. A lot of them are based in California. That's why you're seeing a lot of the tech companies are moving to Texas because the laws are just a little bit more business friendly. Now, there you could fire someone. I believe you can fire someone for a political opinion in Texas. Not every place considers a political opinion to be protected. Do you have the right to it? Yeah, you absolutely have the right to it. But as far as your job, it's kind of like the business in states that don't have this, the business has the right to not have. They could just say we don't want to have any political stances. So the fact that you are, broadcasting yours as an employee of us, yeah, we're going to terminate that. They can do that in Texas. Can't do that in California. So it's very interesting, and I get that people get frustrated when there's so many different answers because there's different states, but it's like each state has the right to its own laws. They're very interesting. And there's been laws where in situations I care enough to know, so I start doing research on it and I start reading what they say. I actually find Florida's laws, the way that they put them, to be really difficult to read. There was just a major case here. I was going to do a video on it, and I still may do the video because in these lives, some people don't watch all the lives. In California, here we have something called the Brown Act. And the Brown Act, for the most part, it talks about what politicians can, or not politicians, public officials, what they can and cannot do. So, for instance, and I might be doing some content with this, I might be having some fun, but me as a citizen, I can go to public meetings and I have a right to give public comments. And the standard is normally 2 to 3 minutes. Some places will do a little bit longer, but normally 2 to 3 minutes is what's allowed. And that's for citizens to come and talk to the elected officials about anything. Now, those elected officials, they have to be transparent. So Florida has some of the best transparency laws. I will say that. California does have transparency laws, but there's some problems. But I will say the Brown Act is a great one. So the Brown Act, it states that's where the rules are. Hey, we're going to raise taxes. Okay, let's say. So you have to do 2 hearings for public comment specifically on that. So you have I believe they can be in conjunction with the board meetings or you can do special sessions. But you have to have, and we saw that with Otter Creek, where they were passing stuff. And we also saw it with Disney in Florida. Disney did all these things, and they didn't follow the Florida sunshine laws that said you had to have two public meetings for comment. They just had one, and then said, "Oh, because we talked about it at the last meeting, that's going to be considered public comment." Oh no, oh no, it has to be primarily for that. My husband has to operate within the Brown Act. He's our city mayor. Absolutely, he does. Absolutely. Um, I might, Susie, I might reach out to you about a thing that I'm planning. It's something fun and really funny. But yeah, I think you guys would enjoy it. Um, but yeah, so with the Brown Act, you have to give notice, and the notice can be as little as 24 hours, but you have to give notice ahead of a public meeting. You have to give public comments before you can do a lot of this stuff, and that's really where Disney big time screwed up when they did their Reedy Creek thing. Like they had no chance of winning that because they didn't follow the Florida rules on transparency. But there was just a case here in California about the Brown Act, and when I was at that when I was up in Monterey at that conference, oh, we were talking about the Brown Act. That was a major topic of discussion. So I'm very in tune with that one. But there was just a case out of Berkeley where um, people at their public comments had gotten disruptive. And so what the mayor did is said, "Okay, we're going to take a break," and they can absolutely do that. If any city council or public meeting is getting unruly, and it's a very smart thing for the elected officials to say, you know what, we're gonna take a recess and let cooler heads prevail. And if you take 15 to 20 minutes, that's fine. But what they did is they then reopened the meeting at a different place and a different place uh, where not everyone in the public was informed, and where people then were not technically given the chance for public comment. I would never want to be governor of this failed state. I am trying to get out of this place. Um, but yeah, they moved the meeting during the recess, and that was to avoid people coming in giving public comments that would be disruptive. Well, the Florida court has determined no, you can't do that. That goes against the Brown Act, uh, because it doesn't matter that you started the meeting where where you um, what's to say where you where you publicly told people it was going to be, but you didn't finish it. Like the whole meeting has to be publicly available. It's one thing if you say, "Hey, we're going to start it here, and then we're going to move it here." Now the public has ample ability to go from one place to the other and be there. But the Brown Act has some really weird stuff. So, and here, this is where it is really interesting. So let's say it's a city. We'll use Susie's husband as an example. He's the mayor. Let's say there's a city council meeting. The mayor's got to be there, but let's say he's up in Sacramento, because they're meeting with the governor over something, right? Very plausible. But he says, "I'm going to join the meeting on Zoom." So if he's going to do that, here's what he has to do. They have to put out that, hey, the mayor will be in this public place on a Zoom call or even a private place, but he has to make that private place available to the public so that if they want to come and give public comment to him, they have to tell people, here's where the mayor is going to be, and the public has a right to show up and give him public comment. That is the law. So it's very interesting, because that was big during COVID when everybody was doing things via Zoom. And there were lawsuits, and people were like, "Hey, these city council people that are doing Zoom calls from their home, uh-uh. uh, the public has to be made available." So if they're going to they have to allow the public in their home to be in compliance with the Brown Act. How crazy is that? Skipper? is a nerd sometimes about government process. Does Congress have to follow the Brown Act? We hardly have town hall, but if we do have one, it's over the phone and he picks what comments to read so he doesn't have to answer the questions. No. Um, well, actually, hold on. He may. He may. Yeah. Ooh, that's a really good question. Um, Here's where I would take that question to. Um, Whatever congressperson you're doing that you're discussing, they're going to be either mostly Democrat or Republican. I would contact the other party and ask to speak with someone as part of their legal thing and be like, hey, because I know people are saying that's federal, it's different. Yeah, but when federal, and this kind of goes with courts, when the federal court is dealing with issues of government people and they're and all the parties are in California, the federal court has to follow California law. And so if I would make a case that if that congressperson, if he is sitting in California and he's doing that, I would say he's got to follow California law. He because I guarantee you his California office has to follow California law. So the people, the people in his office have to follow it, why wouldn't he? So there could be a good case to be made there. I would talk with I I would talk with an attorney, but if you call any attorney, they're not going to take you. What I would do is I would call, like, if this is a Democrat congressman, I would call the Republican Party and say I would like to talk to one of your lawyers about something that the congressman is doing. And oh, trust me, the other parties love being able to sue their opponents. They love, and the thing is, then all you're just, I don't know, they may be able to have to represent you. They may just use you as a complainant. Um, they may just have you sign an affidavit. But that's a very, very good question. Yeah, yeah, that is a good one. I've never thought about the Brown Act as applying to um, federal things, but I don't think it's limited to state officials. Um, yeah, open meeting for legislative bodies. Okay, I'm trying to pull it up here. Let's see. This is not the law. This is a pamphlet. Uh, Brown Act Compliance Manual. See, this is where it gets frustrating. I'm looking for the actual law. Okay, 54950. Okay, let's look it up. Ron DeSantis on Friday signed a bill stripping Disney World of status as an independent special district. Yep, and that's what the lawsuit was all about. Hey, Jeff, I had Chris, aka Sasquatch, uh, on the show on Sunday. Don't know if you watched that, but he's got a nonprofit and they're trying to, like sell things. Do you think your nephew would be willing to sign some memorabilia for them to auction off or to give away? Just no pressure. Just curious because he's got his nonprofit. He's out of Pennsylvania, and I'd love to be able to help them. Okay. I'm trying to pull up. They make it so difficult some days. Next part of the code. Okay. Um, as used in this chapter, local agency means county, city, whether general law or chartered city, county, town, school district, municipal corporation, district, political subdivision, or any board, commission, or agency thereof, or other local public agency. That's probably where they're going to say is it's not a board or commission. A commission, committee, board, or other body of a local agency, whether permanent or temporary decision making or advisory, created by charter, ordinance, resolution, formal action of legislative body. However, advisory committees composed solely of the members of the legislative body are less than a quorum of the legislative bodies, are not legislative bodies except the standing committees of legislative body, irrespective of their composition, which would have a continuing subject matter jurisdiction or a meeting schedule fixed by charter, ordinance, resolution. Okay. That's where they might try to wiggle out of it. So I'm not sure. As I'm looking at the way they're defining it, I would say no. But it's a good question. Any person elected to serve as a member of a legislative body who has not yet assumed the duties of office shall conform his or her conduct to the requirements of this chapter and shall be treated for the purposes of enforcement of the chapter until they've assumed office. Okay. Um, hmm. Yeah, it's a good question. It's a very good question. So I just don't know. The stuff I'm reading, I would say no, but don't quote me on. I'm not an expert, and it's worth asking. The Rock, his movie is flopping. He has people were asking, is he really a movie star? Like his movie actually looks pretty good. Oh yeah, playoffs right now. Yeah, I totally get that. Sent pics of protests. They wanted private owners of apartment building to pay them 3 months rent to move out. He was a new owner and going to intense refurbishment. He voted against allowing. Okay. So the private owners wanted 3 months of rent? I don't see how that's legal. Did you ever notice places with rent control, the price of rent skyrockets after the rent control? Just something I've noticed. And the other thing, a lot of conservatives hate me for is I am against term limits. They do not help. All they do is create a Tammany Hall style backroom deal. Trump DOJ official says Newsom staffer put target on her back. That's an interesting one. Look at this one. Oh, the renters wanted to be paid. I mean, I don't know if they can do that. I mean, that's a hard one. I mean, they could say that there's a contract, and that by renovating and kicking them out, they were in the owner was in violation of the contract. I just don't know. There's some funky things in contract law. I will say that. That's what's the guy's name? He's a lawyer, and he's out of Atlanta, and yeah, he's out of Atlanta, and he does Ask a Lawyer, where he'll go somewhere public and he puts up a sign that says Ask a Lawyer, and people will come up and ask him legal questions, and he is in contract law, and I do like his stuff. And yeah, so that's where I really enjoy listening to him. They were month to month. If they're month to month, that contract can be ended at any month, and they only have to both parties only have to fulfill for the end of the month. So I seriously doubt that'll work for them. Because yeah, a month-to-month contract literally means every month we're going to renew or cancel the contract. That's what that means. Now, if they had like a year lease and they were being kicked out for 3 months, I could see, yeah, there they would be. But then again, California, they write so many laws beneficial to renters here, um, that yeah, it's just it gets crazy sometimes. So there is some weird um real estate law, and it's real estate law is contract law, and there's some weird things about contract law sometimes. That's and there are things that people there are clauses that people are like, oh, we can take that out. That so I've seen people like, for me, I'm a journalist. A lot of my thing is intellectual property. I have a lot of copyrighted material, articles, things I've created, videos. So I follow a lot of contract law, and I'll tell you, I've studied Walt Disney's case. Walt Disney learned the hard way very early on to keep his copyrights. Um, so I've entered into agreements with different places, and I know that they get very frustrated. Where I've then said, "Hey, if we're gonna do work together, I need these things," and I put it in writing. I need you to affirmatively agree to these things. While we might not have a signed contract, if I have it in writing in an email where we have an email is essentially a verbal contract, even though it's in writing. And verbal contracts are real contracts, but the hard part is always proving them if you don't have proof of it. But when you have that, when you have it like in an email, like I've been very clear. Hey, we will have a joint copyright. We both have the right to use the copyrighted material, but we cannot uh like like we can use it in certain circumstances, but I have the right to sell it later. Like you have the right to sell it at the time. I retain the copyright in perpetuity, essentially. So when it's initially published, you can make money off it. But after that initial publication, I retain the copyright. And pretty much that's it, because if I wanted to, like, let's say it's an article I wrote. If I want to reprint that article, like, let's say I decide to write a book. I did a lot of sports stuff, and I've got a lot of sports stories that I've just never talked about publicly. I've considered, like, I might write a book one day about all the sporting stuff that I seen, all the sports people I interacted with, because people find sports things always interesting. If I wanted to just take an article and reprint it, I then want the ability to do that without someone coming back and saying, "Hey, no, we have the copyright on that too." Um, like, and like I've even said, "Look, you will have the copyright for 3 years. At which time I can republish. I will retain the copyright. I can republish without making monetary compensation on it for 3 years, but you can make it for 3 years, and then after that, I retain the full copyright." Like I've done that before. Renters lost. The place was falling apart. All plumbing, electric need to be redone. New windows too. Complete renovation. Many housing violations. New owner inherited. He was aware pre-purchase. That makes sense. Yeah. Can we piss off Lisa today? Well, I think when she realizes that she said Fleesa scams on her show, she's gonna be a little bit mad. I post that in the ecosystem. I did play it earlier if you guys are new and weren't here earlier, but yeah, we got her to say Fleesa scams. I sent her a $2 super chat from the account Folly Suscams. Folly Suscams. But yeah, so yeah, I follow a lot of copyright law stuff, and oh, so this case here about the Trump DOJ official is Harmeet Dillon, the Assistant Attorney General, indirectly accusing Izzy Gordon, Newsom's communications director, which I did tweet about that guy. Like he is such a beta, Izzy Gordon. He tweeted about her potentially putting her in danger. Gordon said on October 5th post appeared to blame the Assistant Attorney General for a fire at the South Carolina Circuit Court. So, there was a judge who ruled against Trump, and there was an explosion at her house, and her house burned down. And people were going on to social media suggesting that someone, MAGA, burnt the house down. I doubt it. When you hear an explosion and then see a fire, it's normally a gas leak. We'll see. It could have been arson. Doubtful. I don't think it's probable. Mike is fibbing. No one has been interested in buying my book, My Life as a Solo Pudding Wrestler. I think that it's the banana hack that Yamaha. I think we need to bring back mud wrestling. Anyone want to start a mud wrestling place? I'm right off of Marine Base. I know it could be popular. There's a place in California. It told me it was a sports bar, and I go in and like it had a sports bar name, and they were like, there was a lot of security at the door, and I'm like, okay. And I go in, and they had Foxy Boxing. In 2024, they had Foxy Boxing. But Dylan said Gordon's October 5th post placed blame on that fire. Dylan responded, threats against me are referred to the U.S. Marshals. There have been several tonight. We will tolerate no such threats. Govern yourselves accordingly. FAFO. So I'm sure there's going to be an investigation. Gordon said the person Dylan accused of making the social media threats told USA Today, Dylan owes us a full apology for blatantly false implications. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Findings came out last night on the fire by the fire marshal. No evidence of arson. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see that update, but that makes sense. Like when I heard it was a explosion, I was like, yeah. I got people sending me messages. Couple people. But yeah, like when I heard there was an explosion, I'm like, okay, that's likely not going. It's likely going to be a gas leak, like high probability. Especially the time, because didn't it? I believe it happened in the morning. Like, if you were going to do arson, okay, and let's say you're a psychopath and you wanted to hurt people, wouldn't you do it at night while they're sleeping? I'm waiting for the sequel of Yamaha Biker's book, The Inappropriate Adventures and Getaway of Big Wheels Outlaw. Oh yeah, the military pay. Yeah, I asked the thing, why doesn't during these shutdowns, the military absolutely gets screwed. They're considered mission essential. They have to come to work and they don't get paid. They'll get back pay once the government once they finally end the shutdown. They will get back pay. And people are like, that's guaranteed. They do it every time. And they're not going to crash the economy. They're going to pay those people. Like they'll take an economic slowdown, but they're not going to crash the economy. And government workers are something like 4% of the economy. So yeah, like why do we not just change the way we pay our military? It's a contract. When you sign to be a part of the military, you're signing a contract, and we know exactly how much it's going to cost. So why don't they include that with mandatory pay? Someone said to my thing yesterday, I said when I did that short, I said, the same way that we do all the other types of mandatory pay, like Social Security, disability. Like my VA disability, the shutdown is not affecting it. It will be affected by things like the debt ceiling. That will affect Social Security and disability pay. Uh, but military pay is not affected because it's part of the budget. So my thing is, why don't they just make it, you know, change the appropriation for make it a mandatory, non-discretionary. Um, because it is a contract, and like I don't see why they can't. Maybe someone smarter than me can tell me, but I had one guy jump in. He's like, "Social Security is paid out of insurance. It's not paid out of payroll taxes. It is paid out of insurance. However, the insurance is that money for the insurance is collected through your payroll taxes. So yes, it is tax money. It's something like 6.5% of every paycheck in the United States. If it's an actual income paycheck, payroll taxes are taken out of it and they pay Social Security. And a lot of people don't understand Social Security. They think there is no Social Security lockbox. If you believe there's a Social Security lockbox, if you think there's some account out there, no. It is the workers today are paying the Social Security uh, recipients. They're paying it. It's a one for one thing. So that's why it'll never go bankrupt as long as there's workers. Now, does that mean there's going to be a ton of money for people? No. We have all these boomers and we have this many workers. So guess what? The boomers are seeing they've taken on debt to pay for the boomers things, but that's why they keep changing the age as to when you can get Social Security, because they're trying to limit that pool. Now, eventually the boomers will die off and it'll give it this much. Now, depending on our population, if our population booms and there's going to, you'll be able to pay off those debts. Will it happen? I don't know. Probably not, because the way Congress does is, oh, we have all this added money. We can give all the people getting Social Security more money. And by doing that, they're going to vote for us more. That's how, so that will those debts, it'll just be this revolving debt until something happens to where no one can pay it. That's my prediction. Um, and then the whole system collapses. So if they don't eventually take cuts, yeah. But a lot of people don't understand how Social Security works. They think, well, I paid into it and all my money should be, out there in this thing. No, what you paid is you paid the interest on T-bills. And as T-bills, uh, like it's the money goes through these things. So like, yeah, you paid into an insurance thing that took all that money and put it into T-bills to secure our T-bills, and you are responsible for paying the interest on those T-bills. And then as T-bills get sold, that money then gets paid out to people who have already paid into Social Security and now have hit a retirement age, and that's how it works. Or people who are on disability, because disability is done the exact same way. It's a different insurance account, but it's it's done the exact same way. Which right now we have a high interest rate for our T-bills. So that's why they're calling it the silent tax. Because when they print more money, they're paying for things that haven't been appropriated. They're just taking that money and hey, let's write a new bill to take that money and spend it on this stuff. It's not a part of the budget, but you are paying the interest on it. They've raised the interest rate, so it does cost you money. Like all these people are like, oh, we want free healthcare and free school. Oh no, it will cost you. It will cost you in the end. Nothing is free. The journey from Jello to pudding. Get you some pudding pops. I've never said I could do a Cosby impersonation. Oh, we're almost to 8 o'clock. I'm gonna probably end this. Too many on disability that shouldn't be. I'll agree with you. But there's enough politicians willing to fight. I mean, look how hard they're fighting to keep illegals. Like Social Security will be paid, but people applying for Social Security is going to be on hold during government shutdown. Yes, that is true. That is true. Now, if they apply, they might get the back pay on it eventually. I can't say that for sure. I haven't looked into it. Ba, 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 ba. You were a federal firefighter, vet firefighter. You might know a couple guys I'm friends with. We'll have to talk offline because one guy actually, two guys who I'm close with, they both were fire chiefs. One was a fire chief here in 29 Palms, like in the city. And then he eventually took a job on base as, I believe, head of dispatch. And then the other guy was actually the 29 Palms base fire chief for a number of years. So you might know them because I've learned I didn't know much about the community until I got to know these two guys, and I've realized it's a very small community. The base firefighters. Imagine the tax rate to provide healthcare for 324 million people. Yes. So everyone's like, I keep saying, look at the VA. The VA sucks at healthcare. What the VA should be doing is they're paying all this money to upkeeping all these old buildings and stuff. What they should do is sell all of the hospitals, sell all the hospitals to Health and Human Services. All the employees who are medical in medical fields should all become employees of Health and Human Services. Okay, and it's a zero sum game. You're selling from one government agency to another, reducing the budget for one agency and increasing it on another. And then now anybody can go to a federal hospital. Okay, and you're gonna not get the world's greatest care, but you'll get cheaper care. And think about that. That means all the VA hospitals become available to everybody on Medicaid. How about that? Hey, I'm on Medicaid. I can go to the Health and Human Service Hospital and get treatment. Or if I don't like that, I can keep going to my normal doctor. So now you have options. And I think you'll get a lot of people who want to go to the federal because they'll be like, I just want it cheaper. And imagine then what that would do. Like, hey, my insurer, I have a nearby HHS hospital where, you know, you can send me to the private hospital nearby, but let me go to this one where now things are going to be cheaper. One thing I keep saying is that the Native Americans of this country are missing out. They're doing all these things with casinos because they're a cash cow. They should also get into healthcare. There's a lot of issues of health within the Indian communities, and so they should do it for their own thing. But they could make a ton of money by partnering with because it used to be in the 50s and 60s every hospital was owned by a church, it was owned by your local government, it was owned by your state government. Now they're all owned by insurance companies, like almost every single one. Like you'll still get a local hospital, but if HHS did that, imagine like your local county hospital that's always overrun and you're not going to get the greatest care. Now people have the option. I can go one to the other, or you can start referring people to the other. And when funding is low on one, you can go to the other. Imagine how much better that would be. What that would do to healthcare. That would increase so much competition, but no one wants to have everybody on the Democrat side are so set on universal health care, and on the Republican side, they're so set on tort reform that no one is looking at the middle. It's one of those issues where both sides are stupid. I would be saying, what can we do to increase competition? They've done that a little bit with like emergent care type places, but that's what I would be doing. The only issue I see that is politicians get their grubby hands on it and fuck it up like they did the VA. The only way they can fuck it up is too many like too many giveaways, which is kind of what the VA is. You guys realize because I'm a 100% disabled veteran, I could apply to the VA to get someone to come clean my house. Like because I'm 100%, even though I have no real mobility issues. Sometimes I will, like I've got a bad back, but because of that, I rate that, and I could apply for it. Isn't that crazy? Proven failed social experiments are tribal and VA healthcare. Yeah, the tribe should just tell the federal government, look, we'll start our own hospitals. Like what the VA should do, and the VA is starting to do this with community care. Just be like, look, you can get a private insurer, and we'll pay $4,500 a year per veteran. Okay, let's say, and that's your stipend. And just like the American Care Act, now there's an exchange of all these different places where you could go, these private insurers where you can go get health care. And, the VA takes care of that. Now all the veterans can, they have coverage. They can go to a private doctor. Um, and then the VA is going to pay copays and stuff like that. But I think it would significantly lower the cost of the healthcare for veterans. And if you turn those hospitals over and to the HHS, and now private insurers can send people to those hospitals, think about that. If you're in a rural area and like there's no one, like there's not a hospital really within your network, they'll be like, oh well, there's a HHS place right down the way, you can go there, and you have that option. Imagine like when there's care, like specialist care, that's going to be way too expensive, but yet there's now an HHS hospital near you. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, back pay is so. I was just looking at your thing, Nana Cat. Yeah, back pay is crazy. I'll tell you, my back pay um on my VA disability was over $20,000, and it was over 2 years of back pay. Imagine that. That's how long I had to do a appeal, and the VA will screw you, and they drug their feet on on issues I clearly had. They were well documented, and they had to pay me 20,000. All right, let me go over here. Where am I at? Uh, no, no, no. Some of these things you think they would make it. Huh, interesting. They're doing some things here on YouTube that are interesting. Interesting and a little bit cool. I'll have to look into some of their stuff that they're saying. What is today? Today is Wednesday, right? All right, there we go. Well, I'm going to end this. I've got the redirect set up. You can listen to the song, and I don't know if Georgie and Coop will be up by the time the song ends, but I'll be over there watching them. I don't know if I'm going to be on today because I got to get my shower and I got to get on to base. It's so nice not having my morning meeting. I don't have to rush out of here. I think the VA needs to be run by veterans, not bureaucrats. It needs to be a balance to give the best care. No, I am against Lou. I am against that, and here's why: because veterans are fucked up. I can tell you right now, there are veterans out there who would tell me, like, I don't rate my 100%. They would say that. Even though I followed the rules, the VA admitted I had all my, like, there are veterans who are fucked up who they want to have one up over another one. So, no, I am not in favor of veterans running the VA. Nope, 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 nope. Oh, they went to the same fire academy. Yeah, I'll Randy and Bob are their names. But yeah, reach out to me, vet firefighter. I'm sure you know him. I'm sure you know him. I'm still waiting for the VA to add my 60-year-old son back on. For some reason, they dropped him. Yeah, okay. Before I go, let me tell you this. I'm helping a veteran right now, and he's eventually probably going to talk about this, but he doesn't want to talk about why the fight's going on. So he was married. Okay. He was only getting like 70%, okay, which is like $1,000 a month, right? So he was married, and then he gets another like 200 a month for being married. He gets divorced. For 4 months, his ex-wife was on his thing. He's getting that $200 a month, and unjustly. He should have given the marriage decree, but he's like, I didn't think about it. And plus, he was homeless at the time. So he then 4 months later gets married. So now he rates that $200 a month again. So you take those 4 months times 200, that's $800 that he unjustly took from the VA. They should check that. Totally on board with that. So like 5 years goes by. Now I had helped him get to 100%. So now he's getting $3,000 a month. Okay. He goes into the VA to get his wife added, and they're like, "Oh, we have this woman's name." And he's like, "Oh yeah, that I got divorced. Here's my new marriage certificate." They want to check all his pay for 100%. So during those 5 years, he wasn't getting 100% that whole time. He was only getting 70%, and he only gets 200 for his wife. They want to check him for the 100% for that whole time. It's like $10,000 they're trying to take from him, all because he didn't turn in his divorce decree and new marriage certificate on time. But when you actually look at the dates and everything, really he owes the VA $800 approximately, right? Maybe a little bit more, but like they're taking his whole disability check. And this is what the VA does. They're absolute bastards. Absolute bastards. Yeah, Ed's got a cleaner, comes to his house twice a week. I could rate that. Now, if I did that, there are veterans out there who'd say I'm a scammer, even though it's perfectly allowed. Perfectly allowed. I don't do it. I just don't need it. And to be honest, you got to know me. Yeah, having someone come into my space, yeah, that can be a weird one. But yeah. So, all right, guys, I'm going to get going. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your comments. Please hit the thumbs up because it does help even after you guys leave. And as always, thank you for being worth serving.
Coffee brewing as the sun peeks through the haze. Birds are chirping, serenading morning's praise. Front porch creaks as dreams fade away. America's awaking to a brand new day. Old vinyl spinning a sweet old tune. Day starts dancing under a sleepy moon. Loose print smudges on fingers of grace. America's awaking at her own steady pace. Sips of sunshine in a coffee cup. Simple moments lifting spirits up. From the mountains to the sandy shore. Morning in America, want just a little more. Neighbors waving with a friendly rise. Kids with backpacks chasing daylight skies. Eyes cooling on a windowsill so fine. America's awaking with a heart full of shine. Old vinyl spinning a sweet old tune. Day starts dancing under a sleepy moon. Newsprint smudges on fingers of grace. America's awaking at her own steady pace. Sips of sunshine in a coffee cup. Simple moments lifting spirits up. From the mountains to the sandy shore. Morning in America, wanting just a little more. Neighbors waving with a friendly rise. Kids with backpacks chasing daylight skies. Eyes cooling on a windowsill so fine. America's awaking with a heart full of shine. Neighbors waving with a friendly rise. Kids with backpacks chasing daylight skies. Eyes cooling on a windowsill so fine. America's awaking with a heart full of shine. Tractors rumble, fields coming alive. Big wheels turning where hopes and dreams strive. Laughter echoes down the old dirt road. America's awaking to lighten her load. America's awaking to lighten her load.